Hi all. Right, welcome back. Red Storm, uh, the Dark Blue Defection, solo scenarios. This is scenario 2, NSC2, good old Uncle Sam. This is part 2. Didn't get much happening in part 1. Probably because, probably because I didn't really look up the rules that I needed to look up to get me started, really. It does feel like I've been a little hasty in jumping. John Brown's latest comment there. I've got a few things to talk about here. His latest comment about doing this to learn the game isn't a bad way to do it. And it got me thinking about it again because I've been a bit apologetic here to how I've went about this sort of jumping in, not really. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've read the rule book more than once, to be honest, but I haven't played the game, so it's difficult to read a, what are we talking? Was it 60 plus rule book? 60 page-ish rule book with player aids and lots of other stuff as well, not just that rule book alone. Without actually playing the game to sort of, you can't remember it all. You can't remember it all. But, however, there are certain rules that I should have looked up before starting the scenario. There's a couple of things I forgot. For instance, Howard had commented on the last part of my last video on BGG. He made the comment on the video that I uploaded. I think it is at part 11 of the first scenario, and he gave me some tips to go forward with scenario 2. I completely forgot about them. A good bit of time had passed, admittedly. And then I came across them again the other day, and I thought, right, I should have looked there. He also, I remember, linked, was it to me personally? I don't know, but he's since done it in a recent post, linked a post that he made regarding sort of rules that you would require to know for each of the scenarios, each of the 10 different scenarios within Dark Blue Defection. And I forgot about them as well. However, I mean, what I shouldn't have forgot about, which was pretty straightforward, was I knew we were introducing SAM units here. We had some anti-aircraft artillery, AAA, so we were also knew we were maybe going to look at some jamming. To an extent, I've learned a bit more about all that as well. But I mean, I should have been looking up the rules. That's one. You know what? That is a bit that I've not done yet. I've read everything. I've read about the AAA, I've read about the SAMs, and I've also read about air-to-ground attacks, which is quite a lot, really, to get into. Now, the bit that I didn't do was jamming. I haven't looked into that. There's quite a lot in that as well. However, I'm now clear on the fact that the only jamming that we're going to be able to do, the only thing we can jam is I think when the SAMs try to acquire us, I'm guessing we're going to get a modifier based on these jam 3D. Possibly that 3 could be the magic number, a modifier of 3, whether it's a plus or a minus, I'm not sure. However, okay, I'm not 100% sure of that, but that's my guess. But we've not got spot jamming aircraft, and I think I did speak about that, didn't I? We've not got the spot jamming, and no, it's not just spot jamming, isn't it? Standoff jamming, isn't it? Anyway, standoff and spot jamming. We've not got any of that. We've only got the capability to possibly make it harder for them to acquire us with their SAMs. I think that's how it is. Anyway, right, I'm probably all over the place here. So apologies to Howard at first for not taking on board these tips that he had left me. I can only say I just forgot about it. And also the link to what rules you require to kind of look at to go through each scenario, which was quite a good thing he done, very useful. Anyways, linked that to me as well. And also to John Brown as well, who's made all the big comments on the last video. Because, I do feel like I should have done a bit more work leading up to it. However, the other thing is, I think in any of these videos that I've created, there's always been some bit of video footage out there that I've been able to look at, and there's nothing. I mean, okay, that's not true. There's not nothing for Red Storm. There is some stuff for Red Storm, and again, I looked over the TC's Gaming Corner rules. Videos. They're really good. They're not very long. They're useful. But there's nothing based on these solo scenarios, and there's nothing based on the solo side of it. So whereas he's telling me how such and such Sam's work and whatever, there can be a slight difference to this because it's all solitaire. I suppose some of the basics are there though, and they are still useful. Anyway, so I've read through a lot of the stuff that I need to read through, and that on top of looking at Howard's tips and where I should be looking at, the link to the different scenarios, and also John Brown's comments on the last part, which I'll try and get through quickly here. But I think I should. I've replied to them sort of kind of briefly. I mean, he's just basically telling me what I'm struggling along with. I mean, there's a few that he says, yeah, you've got that right, that's right. So, I mean, that's good as well. So it's not been completely, I've not been completely useless, I don't think. Okay, I feel like there's an awful lot of things I want to talk about, but I can't really remember. This is maybe a time where somebody that knew what they were doing with these things would maybe take some notes and then have them written down so you can look at it. Yeah, I've not done that. However, I do have John's comments here in front of me, and I've also got my replies to them as well. So first of all, thanks John, the comments were most helpful. And I'm kind of admitting that I've jumped in a bit too quick and should have looked at things, and also mentioned Howard. I'm not going into all that. Let's just jump into where his comments. Right, first one was he was talking about, he's got timestamps as usual, which John always seems to do, which is always useful for other people, and myself looking back on it, so you can look at what it is we're actually talking about. Now, I'm not going to jump to them. I'll hopefully be able to remember what they are. And what he does in the solo scenario, I think we've got this kind of right. And what that's for the Sam Warren. And this Sam is undetected. So what John does is, like he said, because we know what that is, and you can't hide that. And my guess is in later scenarios there's maybe going to be a dice roll where it might pop up to be a different Sam. It could be one of a multitude of Sams. But this scenario, anyway, it's telling us exactly what that Sam is. So there's no kind of hidden part about it. We can't really hide them. Certainly not like this. But this is undetected, and it would have the Sam Warren. And what John says, he just puts that on top of that. I think that's what he was saying there. And that's fair enough. And that still means that this is undetected. Now, we can detect that, and no, it's not the SAM acquisition, is it? It's the other one. Sequence at play. SAM location phase. So in the SAM location phase, we can attempt to locate that, and thinking back here again, man, there's lots to remember here. I'm not going to get everything I say here. I'm not going to get right. I'm still going to have to look it up. But I have recently looked through all the things that are relevant to what I'm trying to do here. So I want to say that we cannot attack that. However, we can with the ARM weapons, isn't it? So what are the anti-radiation missiles? Again, we're looking up. Anti-radiation missile, yeah. I want to say they're the ones that can attack, even if that's undetected, but I'm not going to set that one in stone just yet. But normally the other weapons and the likes to try and attack this, we would need to it would need to be detected. That's not the word, is it? Detected, but I think what they say, unlocated. Located and unlocated, they say here, which I think was kind of throwing me a little bit, because you've got to locate. Now, hang on, I think John goes into this. So anyway, at the 24.5 minute mark, for the solo game, this is what John's saying, for the solo game, I've usually just put a SAM warning marker on top of the real located SAM unit counter. So he's got located in brackets there. So what he's saying is that, well, let me read on. So on top of the real located SAM unit counter, so he's got SA11 IDF, which is the one underneath here. And its ID is F, which is relevant, and we're going to have to get to that in a minute. That way I don't have to keep notes as to which SAM warning marker applies to which unit. Yeah, so we would have a note at the side saying that SAM warning marker 1 represents SA11 with the ID F. So like John says, we know it's there. It's not that it can be hidden anyway. It's underneath there. So that makes sense. And he says you already know the type of SAM since it's given in this scenario. So that's fine. That might make sense. And then I also say it also becomes clearer when you actually read the rules, because these things are sort of explained better. And because I didn't really reread over the rules that were relevant to this, yeah. He also adds that you will also want the SAM acquisition marker with the same ID, F, nearby for use to designate which flight is required. And yeah, I kind of think I did mention that. However, I will have to actually go and find that, because we need the one that's got the F, because these other SAMs could have acquisition markers. Oh, hang on, they're infrared though, aren't they? I don't think the infrared ones don't use acquisition mark. However, let's do it properly. Hang on. Okay, I found it eventually. There's a lot of them in the actual bot, and I had to search through it. So that's a bit fiddly actually, but you can see that you might need quite a few of them. I actually don't think. I think we only need the one here, because I think I might be right in saying that the other two SAMs don't use acquisition markers. But, like I say, well, we'll come back to that and we'll find out if I'm talking nonsense there or not. So that's acquisition marker. So it says keep this nearby, but what I'll do is I'll just put it on the scenario setup card. And like I say, it's got the F as well, so that's the right one. So let me tidy the mess that I've made here. Yeah, there's an awful lot of counters in that wee space. I actually used John, somebody had posted about how people store their game. I think I might have mentioned this before. And John Brown had laid out a system to how he had done it. So I was using his way of doing it, because I figured, well, somebody knows the best way to sort of lay it out. I'm not sure if I maybe put an extra set of hang on, there's SAMs. Yeah, I've got there's SAM warn markers in the next box. That's what I've done wrong. Or unless some have just spilled over, maybe. Right, anyway, that's not what we need to know about Grant. So, right, let's move on. Okay. He says, you will also want the SAM acquisition marker with the same ID F nearby for use to designate which flight is acquired. You'll use either the partial or full acquisition side, depending on the type of acquisition. I've got all that, and I know that. I've read the rules for that. Depends on the dice roll. Infrared SAMs, i.e. the SA-13s, don't use acquisition markers. They can just fire on aircraft in range. So I was right with that. So we don't actually need the acquisition markers for them. But I suppose keeping this right, we're better getting the one out that we need. So in this scenario and many future scenarios, you'll be executing the SAM acquisition and SAM location phases of the game. When the SA-11 is located, you'll take the SAM warning marker off, leaving just the real SAM counter. So, okay, good, got that. So then, moving on to another comment. Yeah, I was talking about the icons. Where are they on? Is it on that? Yeah, it's on the... I'll just grab it up here. These wee icons here. And it's the number of pilots you've got. Whereas that's got one, that's got one. The F4 there's got 2 pilots. That's what that is. I was sort of scratching my head at that one a bit. So yeah. I think I maybe I should have known that, but anyway. So 36-minute mark, you're correct that both real flights could be on one flight path. Yeah, this was when I commented that it seems to me that although we've got 2 dummy flights in the Warsaw Pact, they've got 2 dummy flights and they've got 4 flights in total. It's not necessarily going to be the case that one of these are a dummy and one of these are a dummy. Because I sort of said it looks to me like you could have these 2 being dummies or vice versa, and he's confirmed that that both real flights could be on one flight path, or you could find one on each flight path. It's all down to the dice. So okay, 40-minute mark, bingo. Red Storm solo scenarios and some later DBD scenarios use SAM warning counters as a SAM equivalent of generic flight counters. I won't complicate things right now by explaining, but you're generally correct in how it works. Yeah, this was regarding me sort of saying that a SAM warning marker was basically telling us that it was... again, if you're playing a 2-player game here, this SAM warning marker would just tell you that there's a SAM there. It wouldn't tell you what it was. It's only because of this scenario we know exactly. Well, maybe there are 2-player scenarios that you would get that you would know what they were. But the fact it's showing SAM 1 means that it's not been located yet. So I think that's where we were going there. And yeah, I dig into the solo rules here. This is at 46-minute mark. It's like setting up for the SAM within the full solitaire rules. So John's just confirming that, yeah, those rules refer more to the full solo scenario SAM rules, and he says you've got things set up correctly for this scenario. So I did have things right there, but it's just I started reading into that and I thought, wait, now that's not really relevant to the setup here. Okay, so here's, well, let me, maybe have a look at this one. Hang on. Okay, this is me. This is at the 47-minute mark. Going into how what different states that SAMs can be in, and John's just sort of straightening this out for me. He says much like flights have non-detected/detected and visually identified/not identified, SAMs have 2 states that matter for this scenario. So yeah, that matter for this scenario. Now the other state could be hidden, I think, but we've got unlocated, locate, but then again hidden. I'm not so sure we're going to have hidden. Well, maybe. Like I said, maybe you could still... No, you couldn't, could you? Don't think you could have it hidden even in the solo scenarios. Well, anyway, the 2 states that matter for this scenario are unlocated/located and radar on/radar off. Unlocated means the SAM has its radar on, but you don't know the exact location of the SAM battery. And this state, the SAM is shown as a SAM warning marker, like what we've got here. Located means you know where the SAM battery is and is represented by using the actual SAM counter. So that's unlocated, that's now located because it's just showing the SAM marker. Right, pretty easy that. And then radar on/off is self-explanatory. If it's on, it's on. If it's off, it's not. Okay. So, and then moving on, there's 2 or 3 bits he just got correct here, so I must have been talking the right thing. Correct, there are no dummy SAMs in DBD2. The actions you need to pay attention to are the table below that talks about acquisition and such. Yeah, okay. And then, correct, white flak projects a barrage zone out to 1 hex. Yeah, and then any movement point spent. Yeah, I've looked into these and I think I've got these down. He does say that note that SAM units also have an organic white flat barrage zone, but only within the SAM's hex. There are no radar AA or mobile AA in this scenario. Right, I think I worked that one out. And what he's saying there is, that was basically confirmation that these flak AAs, their barrage zone is in that hex and the hex is all adjacent to it. Now he's also pointing out there that these SAMs, this one here for instance, has a organic white flat barrage zone in its actual hex. So if we fly over that, if we fly adjacent to it, we'll not get AAA fire. However, if we fly into that hex over it, while it's still, I'm assuming while it's still, well, maybe not, maybe it not matter if it's, I would say if it was destroyed, we're probably not going to get it, but just wondering if it was switched off or, well, that's one of them infrared ones. Anyway, we'll get to that. And then he talks about the jamming, which also says correct. DBD 2 has no jamming flights, so you can skip the jamming phase. It tells us that DBD 4 is the first dark blue defection scenario with jamming, but then he goes into, you will use the defensive jamming rating the NATO flights. It applies to SAM acquisition and SAM defense rules. Yeah, okay. It is a modifier. I'm pretty sure that's what we're talking about here. Is this 3D? So it's always going to help us avoid the acquisition, and if they do acquire us, it might help us to roll for SAM defense. He says that RWR also matters as it affects SAM location, range, and dice roll modifier. Okay. RWR, right, we've got a B on this guy and a D on that and the C on the one up top. So, okay. As it affects SAM location, range, and DRM, RWR can also affect the SAM defense roll. Okay, I need to keep an eye on that then. That feels like something that I've maybe not triggered. And yeah, this was a reminder, this is an hour and 10 minutes, that generic bot flights do not attempt radar or IRST detection. Now, I don't think we've done any of it, but we were talking about it, didn't we? So, where does it actually talk about that, though? Yeah, I was kind of struggling to find that, but yeah, I do recall. So it's in here, the full solar rules sequence at play. I don't know if it's elsewhere or not, but you can see detection phase there. It says bot generic flights may not conduct radar searches. They may conduct visual searches, but are not considered to have IRST sensors. I guess it's just because they're still generic. Once they become, because I suppose it could be the dummy, whether it's something to do with that or not. Anyway, I must have been talking about trying to possibly do a radar search, because they both do have radar, the two Warsaw Pact flights, but okay, you don't do that. Fair enough. And I think this was the last one. Flights tasked with SEAD can attack flak. Yeah, this was me talking about, could I take these AA flak issues out, He says he can attack flak, but as you said, they're not part of the victory conditions. The only benefit would be making things a little safer for your flights. So yeah, so we're not, trying to fly through here. If we took this one out, it might be easier to do that, but we're not getting any points, and we're also going to have to use weapons to take that out, which I don't think we should be doing any of that. So, okay, so many thanks, John. It's really helpful, your comments, and again, apologies for maybe not, probably should have put a little bit of research into it before I kick things off. Felt like I was floundering about sort of with that last video, just looking for help, which is a bit silly, really. Howard made a comment. He was praising John's comments, and also had a couple of things. And like I did say, I should have looked more into the rules, and wished I'd remembered about his tips as well, which was like, I remember seeing it afterwards. I think that's great. I'll need to remember. It's just because quite a bit of time had passed. Right, okay. Let's get things started then, because I've been itching to get back at this all week. I just not really had the time, and the one chance I did get, I didn't really have. It was later at night, so I can hopefully get a bit started here, and over the weekend get a bit more done as well. Okay, so I know we were sitting at the movement phase. We'd done everything else. So yeah, there was no other comments and saying that I've done anything wrong up until then, apart from talking about possibly trying to do a radar attempt with these guys, which I can't do while they're still generic flights. Okay. Yeah, I suppose I should be thinking about what, again, because I've not played this scenario, I've not really got a clue about strategies here. We know that we want to try and take this out, and this out. That's where we're getting the most of our victory points. Now, we also know that there's going to be a flight of MiG-21s and a flight of MiG-29s. Two aircraft in each flight, so not too bad, but obviously they're going to be around to come and attack us. Now, they're going to get involved if we get within, I want to say 7 hexes, I think, with them. Then they'll activate, we'll find out if they're real or dummy, and then they'll start getting aggressive on us and try and come and get us. Now, we've got a flight F-15s. How many is in that? There's only 2 in that flight. So they're going to have to try and take care of them if they do get involved. And then our 2 bombing flights, our Wild Weasel and our Falcon, which I think they've both got the same amount of weapons, haven't they? They've got 2 Shrikes and 2 EOGMs. Right, it's got a 1 in brackets there. Okay, I'll come back to that. And they're obviously the flights that we want to go for. It looks kind of like what we've got. I can't quite see on there. Who's Saint? Saint's the F-16. Yeah, that's how you've got them. And a line like that, Grant. So that one's for that. So I guess we'll try and head him towards the SC-13 there, and then that one's for that, the SC-13 there. Now these are infrared SAMs, so again I'm going to have to get stuff out to have a look, and just see. I'm not sure how we want to go about this really. Although I understand some of the rules now much better, it's still going to be tricky to work it out. So the SC-13s, this was another thing. You see the SC-13, I'll just bring the card up in front here. The SC-13 does not have, it can, if we go to high altitude, or very high for that matter, but I don't think most of these aircraft can't go very high. But you can see if we could get to high altitude, then they can't, assuming they can't fire at us or even acquire us at that, but I don't know if that's clever thinking or not. Now the SC-11 that's there, that's not located yet, it's not that case. We could go to high altitude and it would still be able to get us. We'd have to go to very high to avoid that one. But like I say, I don't think, no, none of our flights can go very high. None of our aircraft are capable of that. So yeah, that was one thing I thought, well, do I want to try and do that? First of all, I've got to find out, because I think the range, I'm going to have to pause and look at some numbers and find out. But I think in general, that's what we'll try and do. We'll try and send that guy for there, and then, I don't know, if we can, I suppose if we can take them out and come through this hex, this would be safe, and it would avoid the AAA fire from that and that. But obviously we need to destroy. Well, I say that this hex might still, even if destroyed, I would think if it's destroyed, surely it then it's not organic AA anymore. You would think, but I might need to double check that. But we might need to we might get a path squeezed through there and also come through there as well. This is me assuming that I destroy both of them, but I don't know how easy that's going to be. And of course these flights are going to come around that way, and these are going to come around that way, and then they're going to turn around. So they are going to get to, I'm sure we're going to get some involvement from them. Okay, right, movement phase. Let's get into that first. Right, okay, I was looking up some stuff on the SAMs and the range, and it does seem to be that these are the ones that are closest to us, and these are the infrared ones, and these are located, and you can see that the range for them to attack is the biggest range is 2. They don't need to acquire us, so but they will fire if we get to within 2 hexes of them. That's my understanding of that. And depending on our altitude there, looks like the higher we are, the better. Yeah. And but this the other one, the NSC11, which isn't located yet anyway, but you can see its range there is 14. So that's as far away. That's when it can acquire, and I think the range is down the bottom. Obviously, it can be within 10 hexes to be able to take a shot at us. And again, depending on what altitude we're at. This has got this lock on after launch as well. Oh, it's got EO track, right? Okay, I can't remember what that all means. Right, okay. Right, back to movement anyway. Let's get things moving, Grant, before you get bogged down again. So no defensive wheel stuff. So roll to determine initiative 1 to 6 would be NATO. 7 plus it's Warsaw Pact. Roll dice. We've got 8. So unfortunately it is Warsaw Pact. They win the dice roll, they automatically do take the initiative, being the solo bot. That's one of the rules. So yeah, I've got to draw an initiative chip for them. So again, we're both small flights, aren't we? I think it had to be over 9 flights, didn't it? So I've drawn an initiative chip here. Large is 3. Small's 3 as well. So they're getting to... Oh no, they've got 3 flights. They've got 4 flights, sorry. 2 of which we know are dummies, however, but that's not part of it just now. So right, we'll move along here then and we'll get them moving. So how is it we decide which ones go first again? Yeah, small pool is if it's less than or equal to 9 flights. Okay, so it's just double checking. Special scenario rules. That was one of my questions from the first part, is how do we decide how we, well, to be honest, these are both clean, aren't they? They're not laid in. We don't have bombs in these yet. But the speeds are slightly different. So, however, anyway, it tells you in the special scenario rules, generic bot flights, ignore greater than or equal to 8, no engagement attempt, go to non-combat actions of player raid card 5. Instead, follow mission flight plan within 1 hex using movement profile for MiG-21 SPS at combat throttle. So I think that's what we do. Hang on a minute here. That's what we're going to be using while they are still generic flights. But we need the flight order as well, Grant. Who's going to go move first? Bot flight movement phase order. Right, I'm not going to show you this chart. I get the feeling I'm going to have to look at some charts that are not shown yet. So I might try and show them, because we are going to get into SAM tables and AA stuff and things like that. So, but we should have done all this before. This player raid car 5, and I'm just looking about the procedure. Chit draw procedure. In each chit draw, randomly select 1d10 suit. So, and then move as many flights in the roll suit as allowed by the initiative chit. Okay, so we randomly roll. Yeah, okay. Right, I've rolled the 6. So that is spades. So if there's any spades, we've got one there. These are both diamonds. And is this a spade as well then? No, this is a heart. Okay, so our first of the three is going to be this guy here. And then we would check if any of the conditions apply. Oh yeah, real bot flights in the suit move first, generic bot flights in the suit move next, yeah. Yeah, okay, got that. Yeah, so this is where if there's no, if detected enemy flight in same hex or within 7 hexes, roll 1d10. Yeah, no, just ignore that, Grant, ignore that. So if we had any avoid markers or maneuver markers on them, we would go into that part. We're not doing that. So yeah, we just carry on this flight path. That's all we do. Pretty sure that's all we do, isn't it? Until we get within 7 hexes. Yeah. And if we get within 7 hexes, we go to engagement actions, and then we alright, so when is it we activate then? Yeah, okay, the bot flight activation table. Bot flights use generic flight counters until activated. Generic bot flight is activated if any of the following occur. It is visually identified, attempts to engage in or is successfully engaged in air-to-air combat, including BVR. So if well, hang on, carry on. It receives an attempt BVR combat or attempt standard air-to-air combat engagement actions result, or is it attacked by AA or SAMs? Well, that one can't apply because we've not got any AA or SAMs. So if it was visually identified, or I think it's more likely that it's going to attempt to engage us in BVR, because if it gets within 7 hexes, it will attempt to either BVR or standard air-to-air. So then it would become, and then we would find out what it was. Right, okay, I think that's right. So we're not within 7 hexes, not going to be like that for a while. So let's just move this guy. So what did we say it was? It's the fish bed, isn't it? So we're going on the MiG-21 at combat throttle, isn't it? Using movement profile. Yeah, well, they're both clean anyway, aren't they? Yeah, that's right. Whereas I think I had to stay clean the last time, didn't I? Yeah, it doesn't this time because both the flights don't carry any air-to-ground weapons, so they're both clean flights. So we're using this. They're at medium altitude, clean and combat throttle, so it's a 4. That's the first number there. So he's got a speed of 4, and we're starting at this first waypoint. We're following the yellow waypoints. Okay. Now, I had said about coming up here how it looked a bit risky, because if it comes up here, it's going to pass this flak and pass this flak and have to do AA. But I'm going to assume that we need to just be within 1 hex of this flight plan. So I'm going to assume they're going to go up there and avoid that, because it seems a bit daft to do that, doesn't it? So that's how I'm going to treat that, I think. Okay, so 4 movement points at medium altitude. And this is D, isn't it? So yeah, so 1, 2, yeah, that's nothing important. So I think this is 1, 2, 3, 4, Grant. And he's heading to this one first. And we are going to use that altitude change thing, the possibility I'm changing altitude. So 1, 2, 3, 4, I think is fine, because he can head to this hex. Once he's in this hex, he can then turn towards that and then go up like that. So that's that. Okay, so that's D flight moved. So I need to roll the dice again now. So we've got a heart here and 2 diamonds there. And we've only got 2 more activations. That right, Grant? Nah, I've left his altitude marker behind. So he wouldn't have changed altitude there. It'll possibly change when we reach the next waypoint. Right, let's roll again. We've rolled a 6 again. Is that? Well, that's going to be the same, isn't it, Grant? Yeah, I should have just rolled between diamond and heart, eh? Right, so odd is heart, evens diamond. Odd is heart, evens diamond. Right, I got an even. So that means the 2 diamond flights are going to be the other 2 activations. So, okay. Right, so they both move, and they move in alphabetical order. So the A is going to move first. Again, he's got 4 movement points. He's following the green path. So yeah, so no issues there. Again, I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And well, this guy too. 1, 2, 3. 4. I don't suppose it matters. I mean, I was going to bring him in there, but because he could have went 3 turn and came in beside. I think it's fine as long as they're within 1. As long as they're within 1 hex of this line, so they're both 1 hex either side. That's how they started off, so that seems fine. Right, okay, that's that initiative done. That's so it's over at the NATO player now, I think. Yeah, and as you can see, yeah, it's going to be a little bit before we get involved here, really, isn't it? This is where the talk is about, do you really need to be drawing initiatives? Because, we've left this flight behind. Would we not be just as well moving this before we move ours? Or Anyway, I'll keep doing it the way it says it just now, though. And I know it might be a bit boring to watch. Well, if I pause and don't mess about too much. Right, so what have we got there? It's a large 2. Oh god, that's maybe not an awful lot. So it's a 1 on the small side. So we're going to get to activate 1 of our flights. This comes down to our choice, I suppose. Right, I've had things on pause there for a number of hours, actually. Well, when I did pause, I was away looking at things, trying to work out what I'm trying to do here. And now I've came back, and this is probably all out of my head. Yeah, we have 2 Shrike missiles and 2 EOGM missiles for each of the flights, each of the Wild Weasel and the F-16 Falcon flights. And they're, actually, you need to watch the actual aircraft as well. So it's aircrafts 1 and 2 that are carrying the Shrikes, and aircrafts 3 and 4 that are carrying the EOGMs, I think. And the Shrikes are ones that they're the anti-radiation missiles, aren't they? Yeah. Arm attacks. So and they have different ranges for different altitudes. You can target an unlocated SAM. You get a -2 modifier to that. So they are the ones that we could target. So yeah, we've only got 2 of them each. So this is the one that we could do that. Now, how likely is it we're going to locate that though? What's the sort of? Maybe we need to look at that first, because obviously we're going to reach the SA-13s first before we reach this, but if the Shrikes are the weapons that can have a go at this, even with it being unlocated, then that might be worth considering. I want to just check on how likely it is we're going to locate it. That's the SAM location phase, obviously. Both players roll to roll locate SAM. Well, it's only us that are doing it. 15.13, right. Let me look at that. I'll pause just now. Okay, there's a table that we would be rolling on for SAM location. 15.13 is the rule. So line of sight from non-disordered airborne flight to SAM required. That's a single die roll. Base range is 3 hexes. But RWR, so the radar warning receiver, CADC, modifies base range if SAM radar on. Also add +5 to range if marked SAM launch, regardless of RWR. So, and there's the modifiers there, and there's the ones it's talking about. So if it's got the higher RWR rating, it's going to give you a longer range. So what have we got? We've got a B, a C, and a D. I guess we want our Cobra flight kind of flying in there kind of a bit quicker. Maybe that's who I should be moving first. I was going to move one of my bombers, thinking try and get to the target before they do. So that would be that's the worst of the bunch. Oh no, it's not. Sorry. The higher the letter, the better. So the Wild Weasel flight has a RWR of D. So that's a +4. So that's got a base range of 12. So I'm assuming that means... Right, hang on. What does that mean? These are roll modifiers, Grant. +4, radar on and flight is RWRD, base range 12. Right, so the base range is 3 hexes, but RWR modifies the base range. Okay. So it seems to say that because we've got an RWRD, our range would be 12. How does it explain that? SAM location. Right, pause that. Okay, well, I can only assume from that it means that once we are in range 12 of the SAM, we can... Well, hang on. Base range 12. Yeah, that must mean I've got to get within range of 12, and then I can attempt location within the line of sight and SAM detection range of a flight based on the RWR rating. So okay, once I'm within 12 hexes, I roll 1 dice, so I've got to get a greater than or equal to a 10. However, we're getting a +4 for that, so I'd need to roll a 6 or greater. That's not too bad. And the thing is, if I do use my F-15 for that, it's only got a B rating. So, yeah, it kind of makes more sense. Yeah, okay. Right, I've not counted out hexes or things, but you can get really dragged down the... I think I'm going to move my Vegas. I'm going to move my Wild Weasel flight, I think. Right, okay, so we only drew a 1 for initiative, didn't we? Yeah, there it is. So we've only got 1 flight to move. So I'm going to move my Vegas flight. Now they're at low altitude. And they're laden, so they're... their speed's a 3 at combat throttle, or a 4... or 5 if we go to high altitude. The thing was, I can get... where was that? Honestly, there's so many things I've got to look at in this game. I guess some of these things do become easier as you go along, but give me a sec. Right, yeah, so I've actually found what I'm looking for. Right, so I'm looking for my Shrike missiles, and they are my anti-radiation missiles. So these are the ones that can target the it's not undetected, is it? What's the word? Located, unlocated. Yeah, so I'd been looking at them, and they've got a maximum range of 3 hexes at deck low altitude. However, they have a range of 6 hexes at medium or high, or 9 hexes lofted. But however, lofted gives a -4 modifier when you go to attack, so we don't want that. The other one, target is unlocated, is a -2 modifier as well. And of course, when you go to target these, they can shut down their radars, can't they? Yeah, we'll get to that, I suppose. So yeah, I'm just thinking I could get to high, and then that would speed me up. But getting up to high, well, you know what? Let's do this now. I'm gonna set. And the thing is, with the Wild Weasel's got 10 fuel as well. So I'm going to set his... Right, can we do that? The fact he's away then. We must be able to, because we've got different numbers here. So we can hit dash throttle. Okay, so dash throttle, but we're at low altitude. So we've got a movement point value of 4. So, and then the first movement point I'm going to use, I'm going to move up to medium. That's another marker, isn't it? So that's 1 spent. And then yeah, I'm going to kind of, because I want to go down a little bit and come along. Yeah, just probably another hex or 2 down, because the SA-13 that I'm interested in is here, and the SA-11 that's undetected is here, unlocated, sorry. So that's 1 movement point. So, and then 2 along the spine, free turn. I'm guessing I get... I mean, that's only a 30-degree free turn, so I'm pretty sure I get that, I don't know these off the top of my head either. Where's movement? Here we go, turntable. Yeah, because that was just 30 degrees, and the reason he falls into the hex when he's on the spine, that's right, I think. Our speed is what? Our speed is only 4. So yeah, we get a 60-degree free turn. Yeah, okay. So that's my second movement point, and then third movement point there. And now do I free turn again? I don't think I do. I think I want to come down another one, and then 4 there, and no, I don't think I will turn. Because if I turn now, I'm ending up with that. It's not a big deal, is it? That what is it? Max move? No, it's not that. The one when I can't turn straight away in the next turn, and yeah. Well, right, hang on though, Gran. You're actually quite close here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, you're 10 hexes away from that. What was I trying to achieve though? What was the 10? That was 12. What was the 12 I was looking for? Yeah. Oh, that was to locate, wasn't it? Well, okay. But it's not him we're wanting to locate, is it? It's this guy we're wanting to locate, isn't it? Yeah. So, even if that was... Yeah, so it's not locating this guy we're trying to do, is it? But yeah, I think that's fine. And, well, the range on that with the Shrike, yeah, I don't want to do the lofted thing. So I think we still need to get within 6 hexes to have a goal. To be honest though, if we do move up to high altitude, it means the SA-13 can't even shoot at us. I mean, they've only got a range of 2, whereas we're going to be firing before that. So maybe it's not such a bad idea to go up to. But I don't know if I want these Shrike missiles for. Yeah, well, how do you fire the other ones? How the EOGMs, isn't it? EOGM profile. Visual bombing attack. Right, so that's a visual bombing attack. Right, so there's the attack profiles. 17.3, but once we go into the arm launches, they're different. Yeah, they're not on this, are they? No. So we have EOGM missiles and we have anti-radiation missiles, which aren't on this. They're a separate thing. I think that's right. Yeah, because I've already said I could be 6 hexes away. Yeah, and there's nothing that sort of says that. I don't know if there's another profile for that or not. No, I don't think so. But anyway, the EOGM, they are. So visual, IP is 3 hexes. IP is, what is it, initial point? It's an initial point. And that's where you say you're going to start your bombing run from. So I need to be within 3 hexes to start that, and then we attack from 1 to 2 hexes away. And there you go. It needs to be medium or lower altitude. Not allowed if line of sight through cloud layer, mist or haze. Right, none of that. So with that, we would need to be a medium, which means we couldn't, if we're going to use that for the SA-13, then medium altitude is going to be he's still going to be capable of firing at us as well. And they fire on us once we're within range and we spend a movement point, I think. So that's range within 2, and we need to be within 2 as well. So I think as soon as I was to move in, I'll start my IP there, for instance, and then as soon as I move in there, I can fire. However, as soon as I move in there, I think he will fire at me. I think that's how that'll work. Whereas, if I use one of these Shrike missiles, I can fire from a range of, what did I say? 9 hexes. No, not 9, because I don't want to use the lofted. 6 hexes away. And I can be at medium or high altitude. Well, there's no real point in being at high altitude when you're 6 hexes away though, Grant. Because he can't fire until you're 2 hexes away. So if I was to move again, medium, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I'd be 6 away then. So, does that mean I could do that on my last movement point? Maybe? Possibly. It does mean I'm using one of the Shrikes, and like I've said, they're the ones that can target this. But I'm not so sure. I mean, these SA-13s come before that, so, they're in the way before that. So, maybe I should be having a go at this. And this has got the longest range, because it's a DRWR ray, and it's got the longest range to try and detect, to locate that. So, yeah, we've got that as well. Yeah, okay. And I think what I'll do is I'll bring Cobra Flight just along behind it, I think. Whether that should maybe be in front. Protecting things or not, I'm not sure. But like I say, because I've not played this, I love the idea of it, I enjoy it when I play it. It's just I've not really got an idea of what's in. Well, you've seen that if you watch the first playthrough, like it's, yeah, I could see where I went wrong and how I could make it all right. I think which I probably should have played it again, to be honest, but that would have been probably the sensible thing to do. But right, okay, where are we at? We're at an hour and we've not done an awful lot. So that was we only had one in the initiative, didn't we? So that's basically that. So it's over to the Warsaw Pact again. Now they've still got one flight to activate. So I'll draw a chip, because it could be a 0. It is not a 0, it's a 2. So they're going to activate their one leftover flight, which is flight C, which hasn't been detected either. And then they've got 4 movement points. Yeah, nothing fancy, just 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to do the same with them. Keep them together. I mean, it's all about getting closer to us and then activating and trying to do something to us. You know, as long as it stays within 1 hex of that, I don't see the problem. So back over to us again. Right, well, we don't need to draw a chit anymore, so because that's the Warsaw Pact moved all their flights. So, oh, one other thing I've got to remember that, well, can I do that now? Probably should do that now. That Vegas used dash throttle. So I'm going to mark off a fuel point for him. That's that done. Like I say, he's got 10, so it's pretty good. The F-16's only got 6, so not so good. And the F-15 has got 10 as well, isn't it? Yeah. So we should really be burning him and getting him into the action, eh? So yeah, let's get Cobra moving now. So we're going to dash throttle with him. Now remember, he's clean. Well, no, there's not a way to an option. He's only at low though, so he's at 5. Right, now can we do this whole double climb where you zoom climb? I think getting up to high altitude would be good because, like I've said, the SA-13s cannot hit at high altitude, so we can just cruise above them. Let's find out about this zoom and climb though first. Pretty sure the F-15s can do it, and they're one of the ones that can do it. Well, maybe all flights can do it. Well, yeah, I don't think that's the case as such. Right? So climb on altitude. Right, hang on, I'll pause and find it. Okay, there's zoom climbs there, 6.33, page 10. Flight that climbs twice or more in the movement phase is executing a zoom climb. Second and subsequent altitude bands climbed cost 2 movement points per band. Right, okay. Not 1. Place a zoom climb marker on the flight. In addition, defending flights that commence standard air-to-air combat against a higher altitude enemy flight are considered to have zoom climb prior to the combat and receive a maneuver rating penalty. Wading flights and flights. Right, so there you go. Wading flights and flights at combat throttle cannot zoom climb. Yeah, so we've got to select dash throttle to be able to do it. And obviously, yeah, our bombers cannot do it. Yeah. Flights that have zoom climb suffer combat penalties for the remainder of the game turn. The penalties apply from the moment the second climb takes place. Remove zoom climb markers at the end of the turn. Yeah, so that was one of my concerns, was how long is it going to last? but I was kind of hopeful that it would just be until the end of the turn. So the fact it's going to cost me 2 movement, so it's going to cost me 3 of my, well, I'm going to go dash throttle clearly, so I'm going to have 5 movement points. It's going to cost me 3 to get up to high altitude. I think that's probably worth it though, because then next turn, if I dash, I've got 8 movement. And remember, I can have between, I don't have to use 8, I have between the 5 and the 8, isn't it? Yeah, something like that. I would double check that, but okay, so I'm going to do this. We're going to, because I don't see an issue having a zoom climb marker on me in this turn as well, so why not get that out of the way? Right, so we're going to set dash throttle for our F15, our F15s, and so we've got a movement of 5. I'm going to I'm going to climb and then zoom climb. So it's going to cost me, it's going to cost me 1 movement point to go to medium and then R2 to go to high. So it's going to cost me 3 movement points to zoom climb up to high. Oh, not very high, Grant. Right, there must be separate ones, is there? Yeah, okay. High. Okay, that's me spent 3 of my movement points, and we need a zoom climb marker, don't we? Right, give me a sec. There we go, zoom climb. Right, so that's 3 movement points spent out of 5. So now we've got 2 left, and we're just going to scoot along a couple of. Yeah, I think we'll just stay on that route actually. So 1, 2, just following up behind Vegas there, and yeah, I think I can leave that there. I'm pretty sure that. Rather, I hate covering them up, you know. But whether there's going to come a time when I've got to do that or not. But. Okay, so he's zoom climb, so he's got certain penalties if something was to attack on this turn, but that's fine. And we used dash throttle for him as well, so I'm just going to mark this off now as well for Cobra. I know there's a separate part of the sequence where you do that, but you can see where. Oops. Right, sorry, interrupted phone call. And of course, can't remember. I think I just finished my move with Cobra, hadn't I? Zoom climbed. Yeah, spent our fuel point. I've marked that off as well. Yeah, I think I was saying that there is it's kind of out of sequence. Well, it's not out of sequence. I suppose they've got in a different part. You just feel like you want to mark it off now, just to make sure. Remember, right, anyway. So we've got our F-16 Falcon still to move. So, and he's laden as well, of course. So pretty similar to the Wild. Well, actually, he gets a better. Yeah, he gets a 5 move. Oh no. Yeah, at dash roll he would get 5 at medium altitude, wouldn't he? He does only have 6 fuel. I don't quite know how important that is. Yeah, because I just think if we moved him up to medium as well, I think we probably should. Yeah, I think we will. I think we'll give him. Sorry. I think we'll give him dash throttle as well. I mean, we can always. Next turn, we don't need to be dashing. We could just. Yeah. That's a drop of 3, mind you. We're going to get. Right, okay. So we're at low altitude just now. We're going to go dash throttle, so it's going to be a movement of 4. And I think I will again move them up to medium. So that's 1 movement point. And then I kind of want to keep him sort of going the way he's going, really, because we kind of want to be looking at having a go at that. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, pretty much. And he's at medium. So it does mean these are, I don't know, you kind of feel like maybe the F-15 should be in between these, kind of protecting them, because we know that these Warsaw Pact flights are coming along, and my guess is that they're probably spaced out in a way that we're going to meet each other in this area here, and then possibly in this area here for the other ones, isn't it? I guess it's probably worked out to maybe have it end up something like that. Okay, right, well that's everybody moved. So hopefully I've been through all that properly. But, so we want the sequence of play, I think, right? Where is that again? So that was movement phase. So we've moved in initiative order. We may engage enemy air units. Yeah, another thing to watch. 9G, I think it's about 9 hexes we do. F-15's got a BVR of 9 hexes, isn't it? So, yeah, but as long as they're identified, so just keep that in mind, I suppose, Grant. I should be able to get into sort of somewhere like this area maybe next turn, because he's going to have a good speed, isn't he? And who knows, maybe not next turn, but next again, might be able to have a... Yeah, I don't see the point in not using the Cobra flight for the likes of that. Because it's all fighters we're up against, and they are going to possibly interfere with our bombing runs, aren't they? So, okay, so during movement, flights may engage enemy air units, AA and SAMs, well, none of that. One thing I did, I wanted to keep an eye on that is rule, you know what, it's 14 point something. It's the very last sort of rule in rule 14, and it's not something I'd considered. I think it's the last rule. Yeah, 14.76. I'll see if I can show you this. I know I said I wasn't going to show any of these things, but you know what? After reading some of the stuff today and, you know, feeling like I'm struggling my way through this, and obviously it's probably the first game that I played that, although there's some videos out there explaining some of the things, there's nothing regarding the solo side of things, video-wise. So, although this is nothing to do with solo, Grant. So, anyway, this rule kind of, I was like, oh, didn't know that. 40.76 is on page 24. Automatic small arms at deck. At the end of any movement phase, any flight that is at deck altitude on the enemy side of the front is attacked by a small arms AA barrage. Unlike other AA attacks, these attacks do not result in visual identification of the flight. But yeah, I thought that was quite interesting because, I didn't really think about it. Well, I mean, we're probably going to go over the other side of the front, but deck level, as long as we keep away from that. And my guess is we're wanting to be up a bit higher anyway, so probably nothing to really concern us. So I think that's us finished our movement. There's not any SAMs attacking air ground. Yeah, it's actually got that rule in there as well. I don't think I paid any attention to that. In the sequence of play, at the end of phase, flights at deck on enemy side or front are subject to automatic small arms AA attack. So there you go. Right, fuel phase. Flights that use dash throttle or engage in air combat. Note the fuel usage. Well, I've done that, like I say. I think it's... Right, no, I didn't do Saint as well, yeah. We all used dash throttle, didn't we? So, okay. So we're all marked 1 fuel point. Yeah, okay, so done that. SAM location phase. Both players roll to locate SAM units. Well, right, I think I already checked, and This is all. I mean, these SAMs are located. This one's unlocated, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think it was 12 hexes was the best I was going to get, wasn't it? SAM. Is this SAM acquisition? No, SAM location. Yeah. Well, hang on. No. Wait till I get the check for that again. Now let's say it's player red card. It's either 2 or 3, I think. 2 it is. SAM location. Line of sight from non-disordered airborne flight to SAM required. Base range is 3 hexes. But RWR modifiers base range if SAM radar on. Okay. Yeah, so I'm still saying that the best we're going to get at that is a range of 12 hexes. And then we would be rolling with that 12, we get a +4 modifier to get a 10 or greater. So we're not able to do any of that. Right, track phase. All detected NATO flights at deck and rough terrain. Well, we've nothing at deck level. All flights at deck and adjacent to mountain terrain. I don't think we've got any at deck. They're all at medium and we're at medium and high. We're all up a bit higher. So then we roll on the track table to determine which other detected enemy flights, if any, become undetected. Right. So we roll on this track table. I'm not going to show you. I've showed this one before. So, and again, right. This again is a bit that confuses me. The detection level is at the flights that we're trying to undetect. Right, is it? Yeah, hang on. Let me find it in the rule. 10.3, I think. In a sec. Right, so I think this is the other way about from what I thought it. So each player then rolls 2 dice and consults the track table using the column corresponding to their detection level. The result on the table will be no effect or one or more symbols. Each detected flight counter has a heart, spade or diamond printed on it. If a symbol is rolled, all enemy detected flight counters with matching symbols become undetected. So that's all enemy detected flights counters, right? So, okay. So as for NATO, we're rolling on... does it not tell you on that? Oh, it does. It does. It tells you on that scenario setup card. Detection level, NATO is D, Warsaw Pact is C. Good. I know where to look for it now then. So for NATO, we're rolling on the D. Each player rolls using the column corresponding to their detection level. And then each detected flight counter. If a symbol is rolled, all enemy detected flight counters. Yeah, so it is, we're rolling on the D column, but we're actually checking them. Is that right? I think. That's the way I'm reading that. This feels like it's kind of the other way about from the actual detection check. Oh, hang on. When we're detecting them, we would be rolling on a D. No, that's right. That's right, Grant. You'd be using your detection level to try and detect them. So now we're using our detection level to see if they become undetected. Yeah. I think it's right. Okay. Tell me if I got it wrong. So we're rolling on a D. So we're rolling on detection level D. This is 2 dice, isn't it? Yeah. Well, let's roll and see what we got. I've rolled 14 on the D as a diamond. Oh, that's shock, isn't it? Because they've got 2 diamonds. Ugh. Yeah, D, detection level, diamond. Yeah, that is. So both their flights there that were detected are diamonds. And they're both now going to be undetected. Not so good. Maybe it's too far away to matter just as of yet, but yeah. Right, and then the Warsaw Pact roll now as well, but their detection level's a C. So they're rolling to see if I don't think we've got one guy that's detected. So he's the diamond out as well. So 10 on the C column as a heart, but it's in the brackets, and in brackets has to be on deck or at low. Yeah, and we've not got a heart. It's just a diamond we were trying to avoid. So all okay there. Right, good stuff. Right, what's next? Where are we now? Sequence of play. That's retract phase, SAM acquisition phase. Right. I don't think this does anything because, like I've said, this is the only guy that does the acquiring, and he's too far away, I think. Let me just double check. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's, I'm saying it's out of range. I've not actually counted it. So they don't acquire the SC13s because they're infrared. SC11 does. And the radar, it's all switched on, so it could acquire, and it's got acquire 14. So that is the range, I believe. I think it's probably too much. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah. So probably next turn it might be able to do that. The thing is, well, if it's got an acquire mark on it, I don't know if it affects it. If it affects the fight in other ways, I'm not so sure it does, but I'm still mind this guy's he's not, he can hit at range 10, Grant. He can hit at range 10. Yeah. This guy is a concern, isn't he? Yeah. Okay, well that's maybe had a bit of a wake up call there to make sure that, well, I mean, I can't attempt to do anything about that until I'm within, well, to acquire it within 12 hexes. But even if I use that, the Shrike missile, what did I say it was? 6 hexes, well, 9 if I use the loft thing. So it looks like we might well get acquired, and yeah, that could be quite close because they can actually launch at a range of 10 on us. So yeah, I mean, okay, that's quite interesting then. Right, so I don't think there's anything that can be acquired. That's the only one that can do the acquiring, and everyone's out of range. So admin phase, just to finish off the turn. Flights roll for disordered recovery, split flights, roll to remove shutdown markers, none of that. Switch radar A and mobile AAA on or off. Now, what does the bot side of things say? Admin phase, try to rally disordered flights, try to turn all radars with shutdown markers back on, try to remove all AAA suppression. Yeah, so clearly things that you would normally attempt to do. So everything else in here might be relevant to us though. Switch SAM radars on or off. So they're not going to do any of that because that's not part of the solo rules. Move mobile SAMs, remove SAM launch markers, radar A fire markers, zoom climb markers. There we go. So we can take this away now. And any anti-radar tactics markers don't have any. Generate dummy counters, we don't do that, and they don't do that either, do they? No, I think we found out they start with 2 and that's it, and we don't get to do that at all in the game. I think, yeah, pretty sure that's right. Make flights ready or move them to revetments at airfields, refuel your arm. Roll for, activate. Yeah, that's it, I think. Both players set up any flights when on yeah. That's us. Okay. So that's the turn finish, so I'll probably just cut the part there. I know, again, there's probably not an awful awful lot happened, but we're getting moving slowly. So I move this on to 2 because let's say we've not really got a turn track because I'm just utilising half the maps, and then we'll go back to this top of the sequence of play, which will start with a random event phase this time, and we will be drawing that. Rolling for that this time. Okay. Well, we got going a little bit, but there's a lot. It's all looking up the rules and the charts. There's a lot in it, and there is. It's not a simple game. As you can see, it's going to get easier the more you play it. Obviously, I'm just nowhere near that level. So, if I'd been playing it with other people, if it was something I played with friends or whatever, then I would have much more an idea of how things work. But I've not, so that's just where we are. But I like the idea of the game and I do enjoy it. So why, I should still be able to benefit from it. So move them along a bit. I kept that just there, just in case I need to bring. I've got a little bit of space here where I can lay out a chart or a rule book just to look up something and show you it on camera. Right, okay, I'll get away for now, and hope that went a bit better than the first playthrough. I know probably not much more happened than the first playthrough, but I'd like to think I started doing things that I knew what I was doing a little bit. Although I still had to look them up, I cannot see myself memorising all these rules for sure. Okay, I'll be back with part 3. You know what, I've still got a little bit of time here, but I need to cut this now and copy it across, get it ready for action. I might, if I've got time, I might actually start the next turn. We'll see. Okay, I'll be back at some point. Cheers.